Yeah, boys, this is it. It's time for the very epic Luggo Q&A number, whatever number this is. It's almost been like 2 years since the last one, and that was for like 200 subscribers. But now we're back with 5 times the amount of viewers and a lot more interesting questions. So yeah, I'm not gonna waste too much time. Let's just like go ahead and hop in. Though I just need to clarify, this video is like mostly unscripted. I just wanted to give very natural responses to all of these questions. And plus, I don't want this to feel like a very major video. I just wanted to sit down and have some fun. Now, without further ado, it's time for people to ask me very bad things. So all of these questions will be taken from the update video that I posted a little while ago, alongside like a community post I made one time. We'll just go ahead and start with the update video. So the first question is from Slothfully, and he leaves a very nice message. I appreciate it a ton. And his question is, why'd you initially start YouTube and have those reasons changed as your channel developed? Well, initially, I started my channel to make funny videos about Mario toys doing dumb things. And as you can tell, we've come a long way since then. Whenever I was younger, I used to really like Mario plush videos. One of my biggest inspirations was the Cute Mario Bros, which I still enjoy their content to this day. But the thing is, after a while, I just felt like I wasn't having as much fun making plush videos anymore, mainly because I was having a really hard time thinking up ideas. And also, there was just so much stupid drama going on in that community. It was dumb. That community is so stupid. And I blame myself partially for that. Everyone there, including myself, was getting way too critical over stupid videos and whatnot. I mean, it's just people trying to have fun. Though, to be fair, the quality of said videos was very, very low. A lot of people started making very generic videos, and I was trying to be more creative, but I did not have like the production values or all the time in the world to make those. So whenever I eventually just ran out of unique ideas that I wanted to do, I just shifted over to making normal video game videos. I was doing both at the same time for a while, but then I decided that if I had to keep one, which I really could only keep one if I wanted to make it somewhere on YouTube, of course I'm going to choose the gaming channel stuff. Like, think about it this way. Would you rather stay on a sinking boat or get on the luxurious private jet? Yeah, I don't regret making those old videos. I remember having fun making them, and I feel like if I had a really good idea, then maybe I'd make another on like a different channel, but I don't really see that happening, unfortunately. But you know, it was fun while it lasted. One Up This Room initially comments first, and then proceeds to ask, how come I didn't get a shout out? Fuck Luggo 3. Well, here's the thing. I have no idea what you're talking about. There is no Luggo 3. The only other Luggo that's going to exist is Luggo V3. You freaking moron! Mr. Jacob Otaku asks, have you seen Attack on Titan? If not, you should give it a watch. Well, here's the thing with me and anime. It's cool that people like anime and stuff, but I am not very into any sort of anime I've ever watched. Maybe I'll give it a watch someday, but I don't think I want to jump down a rabbit hole that'll end up with me getting married to a girl who's fat, a furry, or worse, both. SK Petra asks, Number 2, how do you pronounce your channel name? Number 3, what do you think of Sonic Colors Ultimate? Sonic Colors Ultimate, it looks neat. Personally, I'm not really a huge Sonic guy. I'm very neutral on that series, despite liking plenty of the games. And I do like Colors, but I'm not sure. I don't really have much interest in Ultimate. And do you still care about plush channels, or just not care anymore? I don't really watch any plush channels besides like Cute Mario Bros whenever they upload once in a blue moon. But, yeah. Stormy Ray Waters asks, hey, wait, that's not a question. That ends with an exclamation point. Glitch MC asks, if you could pick a Smash fighter to be an Ultimate, who would it be? Well, I actually have a very hard time thinking about that, because any characters that I do like are, like, really, really unlikely to get into Smash. But, if I had to say one, the only one I could really think of is, Phoenix Wright. I feel like he's inevitable at some point, but I do not think that he's going to get into Ultimate, unfortunately. There's no way they do a visual novel character as the last DLC fighter. I mean, it'd be a hype, but you know there'd be a lot of people being pissy. I mean, the Smash fans are going to be pissy anyway, but... The great Sir Nerdnets asks, are there any upcoming indie RPG games you would recommend, or any indie RPGs you haven't played yet but want to? That's a really specific question. I mean, I appreciate the question, of course, but it's very specific. The only indie RPG that I can think of that I want to play is Omori. That game looks right up my alley. I haven't played it yet. I've avoided like everything about the game. It looks cool. But there are other games coming out that, you know, that game's one of those games that's just getting pushed back into, like, getting pushed back. I have priorities on, like, other games that are coming out, like, in a month or whatever. Aside from that, I can't think of any upcoming indie RPGs. It's not really something I pay attention to. If a YouTuber I'm subscribed to mentions a game, or you know, reviews a game that like a demo for an RPG Maker game, then and it looks interesting enough, then yeah, I'm down to try it. That's how it was with Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass. Initially, I watched a review of the demo for that game, and that got me interested in that game, and eventually I picked it up and played it myself, and it was cool. Nameless Octarian asks, how would you describe your How would you describe gaming setup? My laptop's literally just on a table. How many games do you have? I have no idea, because I have a very hard time keeping track of that, considering how many games I have, and the fact that there's also, you have to take digital games into account. I mean, it's just a lot to keep track of. I have a GG account that's pretty much Letterboxd for games, and I keep track of games I've played or beaten on there, but I most certainly do not have every single game I've ever played cataloged on there. But if you're interested, then yeah, you can check that out, I guess. Top 3 favorite games and consoles. I'm not so certain about either of these, but I think my top 3 favorite games are like Bravely Second, Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And as for the consoles, I mainly just grew up with Nintendo stuff, so, you know, my picks are very, like, generic and whatnot. But my favorite console would have to be the 3DS. I know that the Switch is, you know, it's technically a step up and stuff, but there's a lot of stupid things surrounding the Switch, such as, you know, Joy-Con drift, and Nintendo's terrible decisions with the console. I mean, it's a great console, don't get me wrong, but admit it, Nintendo's been really freaking stupid the past few years. Wait, now that I think about it, it's not actually a console, it's a handheld. But screw it, I'm far enough into this as is. Anyway, the 3DS had a lot of great models as well. I own a new 2DS XL now, and I think it's a very great model of the system. It's got all the benefits of the new 3DS, but it's less expensive. Overall, it's a fantastic console, fantastic system, and I don't think that they're going to be able to top it for a long time. Stagivian asks, question, can Airborne_Yoshi asks, what's your favorite game OST and favorite song from any game? Now, I do not think I can answer favorite song from any game. I love video game music so much, but there's so many songs to choose from that I literally think a top 10 favorites video game songs video would literally be impossible to make. I do not know what my favorite is. I'll get stuck listening to one particular song for like a week, and then I'll move over to another song and listen to that for like a week. But favorite game OST, I can't believe it, but I actually found an answer to that, and I think Danganronpa V3 has my favorite video game OST ever. There's so many chill songs in that soundtrack. Like that game, you know, has its fair share of problems, you know, but its style is top tier, and that applies to the music as well. There's a ton of variety in the music. They got great intense themes. They've got great chill themes. They got great emotional themes in it. Literally, like, you know, everybody's gotta love the Scrum Debate music. And it's literally like the same couple of notes repeated over and over and over and over again, yet it's still a banger. I mean, I just don't know what to say. That soundtrack is just top tier. It's gold. I absolutely adore it. Some random BFB fan asks, who is your fave Pokemon or celeb? I really do not care about any particular celebrities whatsoever. And as for my favorite Pokemon, I have no idea. Lego Luigi 26 asks, what is something that gets your goat? Like something commenters do, a game trope, or some aspect of nerd culture that drives you nuts? That's actually an extremely interesting question. Very broad though, but it's a very interesting question nonetheless. Something I've made abundantly clear is I really don't like it whenever, typically YouTubers will just repeat the same few, like, opinions literally everybody else has been saying. And I get it, you know, people will feel the same way about certain games, certain parts in games and whatnot. But they literally don't even try to add their own unique perspective to it. It's for that reason that a lot of YouTubers just kind of blend in for me, and why I'm not subscribed to a whole lot of people, because I don't want to hear the same 3 things repeated over and over again. But like, people are allowed, you know, of course people are allowed to have similar opinions and stuff on games, but they have to I think they need to present it in a way to make it entertaining or informative for people who already know a lot about the game they're talking about. Minty Dragon asks, what's your thoughts on possibly reviewing media outside of video games? Well, I'm not quite sure about that. The way I structure my video game reviews nowadays would probably not translate very well into movies and stuff. I'm not quite as passionate about like movies or TV shows as I am with video games. Whenever I watch a movie, I usually just think, oh, it's good, or oh, it's alright. I can never really look into like the finer details of stuff like that, because like I'm not a hardcore super fan. And considering the state of movies nowadays and movie discussion, that's probably for the better. Not against reviewing a movie or a TV show at some point though. HH Greg asks, do you watch Amphibia? I've not really kept up with any cartoons as of recent. Feet Fist. What do you want in the next main series Kirby game? They should probably just make it 3D, because I like Star Allies and all, mainly for the extra content, because the main story was whatever. But it's very evident that Kirby needs some kind of big shift. I don't think that the series is bad as is, but I think people are getting very tired of the Return to Dreamland sort of style, and I think Kirby just needs an evolution. That'd be pretty cool. Raichu Hunter asks, what is your biggest mixed bag of a game? That's hard to say. A game I love and hate. I know I brought it up earlier. Danganronpa V3 is definitely up there, but I've sort of chilled out with my negativity about that game. It's definitely one that's still very mixed, but I do appreciate it a lot more now. Because in hindsight, while there are a lot of bad things in it, at the same time, there are just as many, if not more, good things in it. And I also had a lot of fun just playing through it. It's a really interesting game to discuss because there's just a lot of nuance to it and whatnot. It's a very, very fun game to talk about. I was planning on remaking my old list of that, on that topic, games I love and hate, you know, mixed bag games. So I'm not going to give away too many more, but yeah, it's a good example of one. I'm not sure if I'm going to remake that video anytime soon. I wrote a script for most of the entries a few months ago, but I never got around to making the video itself. It was around the time I was kind of in a slump of making videos. I just couldn't bring myself to make any. Minty Cold asks, what is your biggest disappointment in video ideas slash video games? So I assume by that you mean what's my biggest, what video of mine was the most disappointing to me, and what video game was the most disappointing to me. I haven't really been majorly disappointed by a video I've made. Usually, like, whenever I'm making a video and I realize that it's not good at all, then I just immediately, scrap it or whatever. I'm very nervous whenever I'm making a video, because I'm wondering if people will like it or not. But usually while making it, there's a lot of things in there that I think are good edits or good jokes or good ideas and whatnot. And while some videos of mine don't turn out the best or just sort of miss the mark, I don't think that there have been any videos in recent history that have outright disappointed me in terms of quality. The only one I can think of is Top 10 Super Smash Bros. Ultimate characters, because that video does not really hold up at all. More than half of the entries on that list are not on that list anymore. It was a video that was essentially it was sort of made because, some of my friends wanted me to do it, but also part of it was I kind of wanted to capitalize on the release of the game. But because I literally pick up and drop characters in Smash, even to this day, on the fly, it's really hard to make a list of 10 of my favorites and have it hold up. But now that I'm way better at the game, I'm thinking about remaking once all the DLC comes out, and whenever I pick up enough pocket characters, hold on to enough pocket characters that I feel like I can make a solid definitive list. I know for certain what the top 5 are, but I think, of course, the top 10 would be a lot more interesting. Now, biggest disappointment for a game, I've made 2 lists about disappointing games. First one's bad, obviously. Second one's okay. I said in the second one that Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity was my most disappointing game. And, yeah, that holds up for the most part. That game was very disappointing too. I'm not sure how old I was whenever I played it, but I remember being very excited to play it, and it was just kind of whatever. But recently, a game that's disappointed me was Resident Evil 3 Remake. I went into that game knowing that there was going to be cut content and whatnot, that it was not faithful to the original game, which, if the original game is great, I like the original game a lot. I have my issues with it, but overall it's a really good game. But I was excited to play 3 Remake despite all the negativity surrounding it, because I was like, oh, the big issue of the game is just cut areas and stuff. Yeah, that sucks, but whatever. It's for the most part, it's an updated version of the old game, and there were a lot of aspects about the original game that I really liked. I can't wait to play this. But while all those things people say are indeed problems, I think the biggest problem with the game is that the level design is so boring and linear that the game just has nothing that's really all that fun about it, aside from, say, the opening city section. This game is just hallway after hallway after hallway to scripted chase scene. It feels like, I know a lot of people have said this, but it feels like a DLC to another game in the series. This is not a full game. I've been wanting to find an excuse to rant about that game in like a video, like a countdown, or even a full-on review, but I'm going to have to script it in a way to make the video more interesting, because of course a lot of people have said that I've repeated those same couple of criticisms, justified of course. But also with that game, it is kind of interesting seeing other people's perspectives on it. I've seen people who haven't played the original who still don't like it. I've seen people who are very nostalgic for the original, of course, who are very disappointed by it. Personally, I don't have any nostalgia bias for the original, because I played this 2 days after finishing the original, and man, I was so unimpressed and disappointed. His last question was, most difficult video. The most difficult video I've ever made would probably be the Danganronpa trial ranking. Mostly because I wanted to get that video out in December, because apparently, from what I've heard, January gets a lot less traffic birthday in December, so I didn't really want all my effort to be wasted. And because of that, and because that's essentially a top 15, I had to work really hard and work my butt off to get that video out in time. For countdowns, I look at my calendar and I sort of set a reasonable like work schedule for that. Like, I can edit 2 entries on this day, 2 entries on this day, 2 entries on this day, and I'll get the video out by the 18th of this month and stuff. I was just looking at my calendar over and over again for that. I was like, man, I really don't know if I'm going to make it. But I buckled down really hard. There was a day where I recorded more than half of the entries. I started editing like an extra entry or two before clocking in for work. I'd wake up early to edit more of the video. But because of that, I ended up getting the video out several days ahead of schedule, which was good. And the video was definitely worth the effort because I felt like it was probably one of my best ones yet, and it got a lot of attention. It's my most viewed video, and overall I'm super satisfied with how it turned out. And that Narwhal Kid asks, what is your thoughts on the movie 9? I'm going to assume that you are talking about this movie 9, and I remember I saw this movie a lot at my local library, and eventually one day I just asked my dad out of sheer curiosity, hey, what if we got this? What if we rented this? And we went home and we watched it. He fell asleep halfway through the movie. I watched it. I liked it. I thought it was really cool. I liked the idea behind the whole film. But I've not seen it in a very long time, so I don't remember all the little details about it. But I just remember enjoying it. Nakoma Nomad asks, what do you value most in a game besides gameplay, maybe? There are a lot of aspects in games that I've come to appreciate a lot, especially recently. One of my favorites, and one of my things that I value most in a game, this is going to sound really weird, music. I absolutely love music, especially, video game music, because I can just listen to it, and it helps me reminisce about certain parts of the game that I played and stuff. It can make you feel very nostalgic for certain games and whatnot. And also, just in general, music's very chill. Video game music's very chill to listen to and whatnot. But also something I really like in games now is games that encourage you to play them a lot and get really good at them. Games that have pretty notably high skill ceilings and whatnot. I used to love playing Star Fox games a lot because, Star Fox, those games are very, very short, but because of that, as a kid, because I didn't want to rush through them too much, or get the most out of the games at least, I'd play them a lot, play the levels over and over again, and I'd have a ton of fun. It's the reason why I think I like Zero so much, because I got so used to the controls for that game that I actually find the controls really fun, and you can be really precise with them. So yeah, essentially games that you're encouraged to play again and again, games that have replay value and rewards or whatever for playing better and whatnot. It's hard to describe, but I really like stuff like that in games. I hate to bring this up as an example because I get the feeling some people are getting very annoyed by me bringing up this series so much, but Resident Evil games, they have their rankings at the end of the games, and for some of them you can get all sorts of cool unlockables for doing hitting certain requirements and whatnot. Because of that, because of how the games are short and how high of a skill ceiling they can have, how many ways you can play them and whatnot, and the unlockables, I love replaying those games a lot. A super shit UTPTP asks quite a few questions in a thread. What game are you looking forward to? Well, there's the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles coming out soon, and also Psychonauts 2 is coming out soon too. I'm not super duper hyped for either of those, but they're cool, I guess. It's weird. I haven't been super hyped for a game in a long time, even though I'm pretty sure those games will both be very good, very fun games. I just have not been super duper hyped for them. That's probably for the better, though, that I'm not super duper hyped, because whenever I am super duper hyped for a game, I can barely wait and I can barely sleep waiting for them. How many Zelda games have you played? I don't know. I don't really keep track. But I've played a lot more than you'd probably expect me to, considering that I don't talk about the series very much, and I'm not really a fan of the series. Because I definitely liked the games more whenever I was younger. So I've tried out a bunch, but I also haven't finished a ton of them either. Like, I haven't finished Skyward Sword or Twilight Princess. I did finish Ocarina of Time and Majora's Masks and Spirit Tracks and Breath of the Wild. I mean, those games are fun. But, yeah. And how many Final Fantasy games have you played? I've only played 2. The first one on the NES and 6 on on Final Fantasy 6. I did recently try to replay Final Fantasy 6 like I said I would in my beloved games that I don't like video. And I started, you know, I had a little bit of fun playing from where I left off, but I haven't touched it in weeks. So, whoopsie! What mob do you like to see? I have no idea what you're referring to. I'm very sorry. The only thing I can think of whenever somebody says mob is Minecraft. But I'm sorry, I don't know what you're referring to. And finally, how many characters do you hate other than Buddy and Takuin? I actually don't know. A couple of the characters that I would mention, that I can think of off the top of my head, they're typically spoiler related stuff, so I'm not going to bring them up. Though there is one character that I do really hate that I would never bring up in a least favorite characters list because he's just not interesting enough to carry an entry. Mr. Pease Lubbin Understanding from Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice. He's the first culprit of that game, and don't worry, that's not a spoiler. They literally show him killing the dude. They do that for a lot of the first culprits. But I know a lot of people find Mr. Understanding very funny. I do not. I think he's extremely annoying and a terrible culprit. My least favorite character in the entire series. I have 2 major issues with him. He sings most of his dialogue, specifically his testimonies, and not only is it just a song I don't really care about, and you know the little tune that he does, not only do I not care about that, but it makes his text boxes slow down to a crawl, and it makes his testimonies take forever. But what I really hate is that he plays music, of course, but the music that he's playing overlaps with the in-game music, and it sounds horrible. M4M4 asks, why does? Because why not? My buddy boy Alfonso McGeek asks, what would you say was the video that you had the least fun making? That's a very interesting question. For a while, and I still do this occasionally, I was making videos where I was just essentially forcing myself to make a video just so I could have something out. And of course, because of that, I usually would the video would feel more like work than fun. But even whenever I do get a topic nowadays that I'm not really like super duper into, I do try to still have fun with it by making stupid jokes and whatnot. So it's really hard to pick what my what video was my least favorite to make. Out of recent stuff, maybe the Nintendo Direct Dilemmas video. There were still jokes that were cool in that video, but I mean, for the most part, it's kind of just whatever. It was something that I felt like I needed to make because the channel was it was one of those periods where I was not very active, and I just couldn't bring myself to make many videos. So I just made that, and while I do make some you know, decent points in there, it was not a video that I was super duper passionate about. And if you were more well known compared to now, say at least 10,000 subs or more, how would you handle it? I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd really handle it that much differently. I'd probably would not make as maybe I think I'd still make, you know, hot takes and stuff, but I definitely watch making video. I definitely hold my tongue in making videos like the redundant video game reviews video, where I'm making very controversial statements that people may not agree with. I say it like it's some dumb political thing. It's not. It's video games. It's not really a big deal. But yeah, I don't really think I'd handle it that much differently. Also, do you know where my father is? Fonzo, look, it's your dad! Senor Apples asks, what indie games have you thought about doing reviews on? I actually don't know. I'm not as super duper into indie games as other people are. Well, I remember whenever I was doing, whenever around the time I did You Mean the Pulsating Mass and Yume Nikki, I also wanted to follow those two up with a finally doing a Lisa video. That's an indie game, but I didn't do it. So whoops. But that's an indie game that I'll review in the future. Also, I've considered actually talking about all 4 of the Shovel Knight games. I think that'd actually be pretty interesting now, because I remember, you know, the first game was very popular, but you know, there are of course there are plenty of videos that exist on the other 3 campaigns, but I think it'd be still be interesting to talk about those 3 because they don't get as much attention. My boy Pika Tyler asks, how long do you see yourself doing YouTube? I don't want to sound super existential here, but sometimes I think about that, and it sort of scares me. Will I still be doing this whenever I'm like 50, 70 years old? Will there just be a point where I have to make a video where I say that I quit or something before I inevitably die? Will I have to watch other YouTubers have to do stuff like this? I mean, who knows, man? That's gonna be weird whenever we reach that point. But yeah, for the time being, I'm just probably gonna stick with it for as long as I can. Also, what's your overall opinion on Nintendo throughout the Switch generation? Very mixed. I am not quite as I think plenty of the games they've released during the Switch's lifespan are in fact very good, but I am not head over heels in love with them as much as like some of their older titles. On top of that, Nintendo has really shown their bad side over the past few years. But with that said, there are plenty of good things about the Switch, and I think it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. Karate Bat asks, have you watched Bo Burnham Inside? Man, I really hate it whenever I have to respond to questions like this, but I don't know what that is. I'm very sorry. But you know what? I probably should look into it sometime. And Kool-Aid Man Animates asks, a PC or console? That's very interesting because, you know, console, I play on the Switch, which is very well known for having a lot of ports that are not very good. So with that said, you might think that I'm more of a PC guy. I mainly just play on both PC and Switch, but I also have mixed feelings on PC as well. As of recent, I've been warming up to PC gaming a lot more. There are a lot of fun things about it. I've been messing around with mods for some games. Of course, games run better on my PC than they would on Switch. It's really cool overall. But then there's the times where PC gaming decides to be a big pain in the poo-poo hole, because you have to deal with stupid stuff such as DRM hindering performance problems in general, games not launching, specifically older titles. I brought this up in my Poker Night video, and I don't care what anybody says. You know, I haven't tried doing it myself, but PC building does not look or sound fun or appealing to me in the slightest. I always just go pre-built, and I really don't want to build my own. If I really don't want to have to build my own if I ever have to. Also, not to mention, with my setup, I just have like a standard, you know, computer chair. After a while of playing a game on PC, I just get kind of uncomfortable. Like, my back will hurt a little bit if I just sit down for like an hour or two playing a game, which I don't quite feel as much whenever playing on like my Switch, because on my Switch I can just sit down on my bed and play it, and it'll be a lot more comfortable. But I can't quite do the same thing with a big old bulky laptop. And I think that's all the questions asked for the Q&A. That was very fun, and I appreciate every single question that I was asked. It gave me the opportunity to talk about games and whatnot, my opinions on certain things. It was very, very fun, and I'm very thankful for everyone not only supporting the channel, but also asking the questions. The 1,000 subscriber celebration has been very, very based and very epic and whatnot, and I'm excited to see where I'm gonna go from here. So thank you all, and I'm gonna head out now. Anyway, bye bye.